Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in. Winning cures everything. A little bit of a different intro today. We are working with a different audio device, so hopefully everybody can hear us. Everything is good to go. If you cannot, obviously you can jump into the chat and let us know what is going on in your world and tell us what we're messing up. We'll say that. So this is Winning Cures Everything. I'm Gary.
I'm Chris.
And we've got a lot of football to discuss today because we are getting into the thick of the season. It looks like it is going to be a fantastic year. I'm pumped. I'm ready. I'm ready to roll. We actually get to talk football. Like, we don't have to talk about all the other stuff. Now, we will be talking about some of the other stuff. But we get to talk actual football today. We're going to preview some NFL teams. We're talking about the AFC North and the NFC North. We're going to talk about some opt-outs, and we're going to talk about guys getting waived and guys that are sitting out waiting for contracts and what the difference is. So we'll get into all of that. First things first, though, go over to winningcureseverything.com. That is all of our picks, previews, podcasts, videos, social media platforms. You can find everything about us over there, including all of these platforms where you can watch us live. Obviously, we are right here on the show, live right now. If you're watching, you already know. But you can find us on Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Pretty much every day. We'll say mostly Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This week I think it's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know, it just depends on our SBR schedule. But if you want to see our college football content, for the most part, we will, not even for the most part, almost all of it is going to be over. It's over at sbrpicks.com/NCAAF and on the SBR Picks or Sportsbook Review YouTube page. Just go search for that, or down at the bottom on the YouTube description, you can find the link for it. You can click and all that. You can find us over there. We will be knocking that out every Monday for the opening line show. Every Tuesday afternoon is our picks show. Every Thursday, starting next week, we will have news, notes, questions, answers, all that kind of stuff. And then Saturday mornings, we will have, the closing line show, and we'll kind of answer any questions that you guys have leading into the games on Saturday. So lots of stuff that we will be digging into. We will be over there 4 days a week, and it's going to be a lot of fun, a whole lot of fun. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into today's topics. Oh, by the way, if you missed the live show, go over and get the podcast. Knock that thing out. Do yourself a favor. You don't want to miss a show, so you can knock out the podcast and leave a nice 5-star review over at Apple Podcast when you get the opportunity. We would appreciate it. So let's dive into topic number 1 here, and that would be LSU wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase is opting out for the 2020 season. This came down yesterday afternoon, was a massive, massive deal. Oh, by the way, anybody that wants to jump into the chat, you can do so on any of your platforms right there in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. You'll be able to get in right there. So go ahead and knock that out and jump in. You can help drive the conversation. But Ja'Marr Chase opts out, and then just a couple of hours after that, we find out that Memphis running back Kenneth Gainwell is opting out, and he was expected to be up for AAC Player of the Year. Yes, he had over 2,000 yards from scrimmage last year. Ja'Marr Chase had a ton of receiving yards. What did he have, over 1,700, over 1,800 yards last year?
He was the best receiver in football last year.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. It was
on the best offensive team that we've ever seen in history. That single season could go down as the greatest wide receiving season we've ever had. Yeah. To only get one of those, it's a tough pill to swallow.
It certainly is.
I didn't take it well yesterday at all.
Well, I will say this. The reason I wanted to bring it up is because, one, we haven't had a chance to talk about it, and two, there is a major difference in what kids are able to sit out for this season, right? We knew, obviously, some people are scared of the virus. Some people are scared of the pandemic. And on Kenneth Gainwell's side, he has lost 4 family members to COVID. So you can totally understand that aspect of it. Ja'Marr Chase, on the other side, that's where it gets a little different, right? Ja'Marr Chase hadn't been through anything like that, but he hit his high point in January. There was no reason for him to come back this season. And when you've got an opportunity in a very weird, messed up year to go ahead and sit this one out, go ahead and get your agent money, and just start working out for the draft.
I think that's it. I think this was a financial decision. And he said that in his thing, basically. He said, I had to make the best decision for my family. You say that when you're saying, I have to go make money.
Yes.
Okay. And I'll tell you this is a time and place where he doesn't come from affluence. Okay. He doesn't have a family of means already, and coming to college and preparing yourself for a career, that's a good thing. I do think these guys get some money, and I don't think it's a couple of $1,000s here or there, but that doesn't go a long way when you're trying to take care of family. And the agent money that they guys can fork out, they're basically loans on a guaranteed contract that you're going to get. It's life-changing.
Yes.
And that's a situation where I hate it, but I understand. It's not even about he has nothing enough to prove. He has nothing. It's you got to take care of your family. We're all hurting right now in the world of COVID more than we have normally hurt. Okay. Not a lot of people are doing better today than they were this time last year. And so if your family is already struggling financially, anything's better than nothing. Go get your money, go get yourself taken care of. I respect it. I really, really, really hate it.
Yeah. No, I can understand
I want
it.
to see this young man play because I think he is a star.
Oh, I think he is too. Joseph Gomez jumps in on YouTube. He said, if you know you're going to the combine, it's a lot safer financially to just sit.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's not even about financial. You're getting paid today. Yeah. There's an agent that's stroking your family. There's a really good chance mid to upper six figures, maybe even seven figures if they think you're guaranteed worth that.
I agree. So we wanted to highlight that just a little bit to show, like, there are different reasons why kids are sitting out this year. And I don't expect this to be a trend going forward, anything like that. I think
I think the ones that are doing it have already made up their mind. And I think he was just really struggling, and we got to the point of the season where it's just dick cutting time. Are you in or you out?
Yeah. I mean, you need to figure out what you were going to do, and this is what he decided to do. So with that said, Mark 1 jumps in. He said, what's up, guys? What is up, Mark? Again, everybody that wants to jump into the chat, you can do so. Any platform, it populates right there on the screen for you. You will be able to see it. For those that want to ask questions on the podcast thing, you can review the podcast and leave questions over there. We will answer those as well. Let's dive into this next topic, and we're going to talk about some NFL players before we get into our previews. And that would be Leonard Fournette got waived. Now, and I kind of want to juxtapose these. Good gracious. You would think I was smart if I didn't open my mouth, right? I want to juxtapose these two things. One is Alvin Kamara sitting out for the Saints. He has sat out the last 3 days of practice waiting for a new contract. And then you've got on the other side, Leonard Fournette, former first-round draft pick, former top 5 draft pick, who has been cut by the Jaguars. They could not find a trade partner. They could not get a single draft pick for this guy. Nothing. Kind of crazy to think about, considering what he was coming in and then what he ended up being on the way out, right? And it's not like he's been bad. I mean, he rushed he had like 1,500 yards from scrimmage. Yeah. You know, he's not worthless. But
I think leagues are finding out running backs just aren't worth that much, man.
They're not.
Everybody's already got one. Why give up an asset?
Yeah. I mean, that's the point, right? Is he going to make your team any better? And it's not that he's done anything crazy bad there. Yeah, there were some locker room problems, nothing crazy. And he also had some, there were other issues here and there, like he had injury issues and whatever. But, last year he was healthy. He was fine. He was a good running back.
And he was good.
But was he worth $4 million that they're going to owe him this year? And that's where
he's 100% worth $4 million. $4 million is chump change in for these salary caps. Okay, there aren't a whole lot of running backs working for less than $4 million. All right, so it ain't the money that kept people away. I think people are set pat on their team, and now the Jaguars doing this is dirty pool because it's hard. Nobody needs a running back.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is everybody's already got them. They've already been through this weird-ass camp. Bringing a new guy in today when you don't have the need is tough. It's a tough sell to the locker room because you want to support the guys that you've already got, and everybody kind of likes the team that they've got. Because you've got the same problem with Devonta Freeman sitting out there still as a free agent. Healthy, no issues, no problems, and nobody will go pick him up. Why? Because why bring a new cog into the wheel right now when everything seems to be going good? Now, give this week 4, guys will start getting hurt, and him and Devontae will find a job quickly.
Yes, I think you are correct. Now, let's take that and let's talk about on the other side. That would be Alvin Kamara,
Kamara is not a regular running back.
Agreed. So I'm curious what this means for the Saints, what it means for the Jags. I mean, are we firmly in the trenches with the Jags are tanking for this next year?
That's the decision they've made. They don't need Leonard because Leonard helps them win games. And I think they're going the opposite way of that. We haven't seen many NFL teams actually openly tank. I think we're going to see that here in Jacksonville. I'll be shocked if they're really trying hard to win games.
All right, now back to Kamara. Do you think that they get a deal done? Do you think that they get this knocked out?
I have no idea. I'm tired of trying to predict NFL contracts and what guys think they're worth it. I love Alvin. I think Alvin is an elite player, so much more than just a running back. In today's football, there are running backs like Leonard Fournette, okay? And then there are running backs like Alvin Kamara. Those guys are absolutely worth their weight in salt, all right? They just are. They bring value to the team so much more than running the football. The problem is, are teams willing to take them and pay them what they think, what their actual worth is, because they've got that RB next to their name? If they had a WR next to it, it'd be fine.
Well, and that's the thing. Guys like Kamara, guys like Christian McCaffrey, whatever, they are 100% like utility players, right?
Well,
They're
Josh Jacobs is the same way.
Yeah.
Everybody assumes that Clyde's going to be that same way. Like, that's the wave of the future for running backs. Because, I think those careers can last a lot longer. They're better investments because this engine can run for 5 to 8 years because they're getting hit in open field, not squared up running through the tackles. They're not getting tackled by linemen and linebackers as much. They're getting tackled by DBs, and while those guys still hit, when they fall on you, they don't crush organs.
This is true. Joseph Gomez jumps in. He said, sadly, the Jags' issue is partly due to Tom Coughlin's poor management. No free agent wants to sign with the team. If you have absentee owners, it will eventually show through the team.
Well, Tom Coughlin is gone. It's going to take them making some big deal moves. There's a couple of guys out there that I would give a call to bring in as a GM and team president to revamp that. And I would very much, they got to get the owner's son away too. That guy seems to be an asshole that wants to stick his nose in business. But you're exactly right. That team has some stink on them that they got to find a way to get off.
Yes, they got to figure that out. But we're not going to spend a lot of time talking on the Jags. We can go ahead and hop off of that. Let's dive into our previews. We've been kind of setting this up for a while. We wanted to see how things were going to shape out. But let's dive into the AFC North. And we will start things off with the Baltimore Ravens. Last year went 14-2. Win total is set right now at 11.5 games. Over at BetOnline, it is plus 120 for the over and minus 150 for the under. So they think it is much more likely that they will go under 12 wins as opposed to over 11.5. To win the division, you can find different odds all over the place. As it sits right now, to win the division, they are minus 180. So a sizable favorite here. Earlier this summer, they were as high as like minus 300 to win this division. And that has come back down quite a bit. John Harbaugh is in his 13th season. Let's go through some of the stats from last year. Offensive yards per play, they were number 3, 6.1 yards per play. Defensive yards per play, they gave up 5.2. They were number 11 in the league. Turnover margin, they were number 9. That is just as big a thing as yards per play for either side. Plus 0.4 turnovers per game. That is definitely good. Number 9 in the league. This is all Lamar Jackson. I mean, it just is. They lost Hayden Hurst, which isn't that big of a deal because they still got Mark Andrews. They drafted J.K. Dobbins, and I think that offense is still going to continue rolling. Remember, Hollywood Brown, we didn't even see the best of him last year. I mean, he is moving into his second year. He's going to understand the offense a lot better. I think he's not going to be as injured because he came in injured last year. So I think that's a step in the right direction. And then the defense, they brought in Patrick Queen. They brought in Calais Campbell. And, I think they could feasibly, from all the talk that we've heard, they could actually be better without Earl Thomas. So yes. I really like this team. And I have been the doubter of Lamar Jackson, and I still kind of am because I think that teams and defenses will be able to catch up with him eventually. I don't think it's this year. I'll go ahead and tell you my prediction on it. I've got him 12-4 this year, and I've got him winning the division. Like, I think this is an incredibly well-built team, and the Ravens do this over and over again. I mean, John Harbaugh's a hell of a coach. Hell of a coach. Yep. What do you got?
I love this team. I am the opposite of you on Lamar. I was waving the flag from his freshman year at Louisville when I saw this kid was elite, and I said, whoever takes him, he's going to change their franchise forever. I wanted my Pats to take him so badly, and they were too afraid to pull that trigger. The nemesis Baltimore Ravens come in, they take him, and my heart melts completely. And now I'm all in on Baltimore and Lamar's success. I think this guy's elite. We have not seen anything yet from what this offense can do. You think they can figure it out? It's going to look so different this year than it did last year. They haven't had a running back. I know you like your boy Mark Ingram. All right, he's old as hell. He's good at the goal line. That's about it. All right. Yeah. They bring in Dobbins. That's going to add electricity to that backfield that they haven't had to pair with him, and then to take a lot of the heat off of Lamar. But then also, we are going to see Hollywood Brown cook this year. If you're in a fantasy league, he is so undervalued. It's not funny. Just grab him. Whatever you have to do, whatever the auction price is, just pay it. I promise you, he's going to outperform any drafts. Just 1-2 rounds early, that's fine. He's going to outperform all of that. Watch him. He's going to be electric. His offense is going to fly. I don't think the defense is going backwards at all. John Harbaugh is just a mastermind at defense, and he's got an elite team of players. I got him 13-3. I really want it to be 14-2. I think the NFL is just too bad, too hard. It's too easy to just slip up and let somebody catch you. Last year, they lost a game to the Browns. They played the Browns 10 times last year. They beat the Browns 9 of those. That one time they finally got them. Cleveland was just reeling off 4 losses in a row and were desperate, and the Ravens were kind of flying high and came down to earth a little bit. 13-3, I think they win the division. I don't think it's close. And I like this division. I think the teams in this division are going to all be improved from what they were last year for the most part. I still think they run away with it.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. You might be right. Let's move on, and with this one, we will dive into the Cincinnati Bengals. And, obviously it's all Joe Burrow here. Went 2-14 last year, had the number 1 pick. Their win total right now is set at 5.5. To go over is -140, so they expect, 6 as opposed to 5 here. But the under is +110. To win the division, +1,600. So that ain't going to happen this year. There's just not enough on this roster for them to be able to do that right now, especially with the other teams that are in the division. Head coach Zach Taylor in his second season, we'll see what happens with him. I'm curious. I'm curious because he's one of those guys that was hired just because he at one point shook hands with Sean McVay.
That's right.
So, we'll see what he's got.
He has no credentials whatsoever. He was just friends with Sean.
As it stands last year, the stats were not good. Offensive yards per play, they were number 28 in the league, 4.9 yards per play. Defensive yards per play, they were number 31 at 6.1 yards per play given up. And turnover margin, they were number 29, so they weren't any better on that part. They gave up 0.9 turnovers per game. It's not good. Not good. Now, they do have Burrow, A.J. Green, and Joe Mixon, and there ain't a whole lot behind those. But that's a foundation that you can build on.
I think Tyler Boyd's going to want to have a word with you.
And T. Higgins, I think, can but again.
Yes, we ain't even talking about him.
Yeah.
But I believe Tyler Boyd will want to have a word with you.
Okay. That's totally fine. Totally fine. Joseph Gomez jumped in, by the way. He said, don't forget the Vikings traded for Njoku. How do you say that?
His name is Njoku. And
it
I
is
didn't
Njoku.
know that trade happened.
It did happen in exchange for a second-rounder and a potential 3-4. Jags are wholesaling everybody. And Baltimore gets their number 1 tight end back in Andrews. Yeah, I said that. Joseph said, don't be surprised if Mixon carries the Bengals better than Saquon carries the Giants.
100%.
I think that could be totally fair. Mixon is a hell of a player.
What do you got
I have got these guys. Well, hold on. They revamped their defense. Have you seen all the guys they brought in?
Yes.
So
this
Von
is a completely different team than last year. This is not just Joe Burrow added to this team and everything else is moot. Okay.
Here it is. DFS Bachelor comes in. It's Yannick Ngakoue. That's it.
Oh, I thought you were talking about David Njoku.
No.
He's a guy for Cleveland as a tight end, and he's trying to get traded.
Yes, no. We were talking about the Minnesota.
I was about to say,
trade.
I did not know that happened at all.
Yeah, Minnesota in the Jaguars. So this was dating back to the Fournette talk.
I'm not worried about that.
So they brought in Von Bell. They brought in Trey Waynes. They brought in DJ Reader. Defense, not completely revamped, but for the most part, yeah. I mean, that's
pretty revamped. That's a lot of keep. All those guys they brought in are a lot better than the guys that they'll be replacing.
Yes. Now their schedule, that helps. Because they were so bad last year. Obviously, the schedule sets up a lot better for them this season.
That's right.
However, I think with a rookie quarterback, I think it's going to take just a little bit of time. I've got them improving, but I still got them going under. I've got them 5-11. But I think, there's a strong shot they could win 6-7 games here just because of the way that the schedule sets up. So, yeah, I've got them 5-11. How do you feel?
I got them 8-8. I think this team is going to be good. I think they're going to be much improved. Much improved. That is not all just Joe Burrow. I think Joe Mixon's going to show the league he's elite. All right?
Well, and you get A.J. Green back healthy, and so long as he can stay healthy.
We're about to get there, okay? A.J. Green is still a professional wide receiver, and guess what? Yes, he's been hurt. He didn't have the miles on his legs. His legs are fresh, and that dude looks great in camp. I know everybody looks great in camp. Tyler Boyd has been connecting with Joe Burrow in camp all the last couple of weeks. I think he is going to break out this year. That offense is going to look way different. They're only going to go as far as Zach's going to take them, all right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. We got a Freddie Kitchens situation here on, do you have a team that is poised and ready to play with the dudes on the field, but I got a moron calling plays? I don't know the answer to that question yet because
Me either.
He was stifled. I can't really judge him from last year because that team was trash last year, okay? So that's not his fault, all right? That was a team that was trying to tank, okay? And so that's not all on him. We will see what he really is worth because I do think that defense is going to be better. I don't think this team is just going to get beat by everybody who's better than them. I think they're going to find ways to win games because there are just too many guys on this team. That offensive line was trash last year. That offensive line is going to be pretty good this year. Okay,
hey, you might be right.
And they got somebody. So, guys, this team doesn't look anything like last year's team.
Isn't it strange that it's the Bengals that are actually maybe doing a pretty good job rebuilding an offense or rebuilding a roster?
Well, we're going to get to the other teams. These are not your mama and daddy's Ohio teams, okay?
No, you got that right.
Cleveland and Cincinnati are getting out of the cellar.
Let's see. DFS Bachelor, our buddy Kyle from SBR jumps in. He said, "Great job, fellas." He said D from Jacksonville is who we were talking about. So, I'm glad he's watching, man. I'm glad those guys do a fantastic job. You need to go and check out the NFL show over there. He and Donnie do a fantastic job on sportsbookreview.com, so go on and check that out. Moving on, let's dive into the Cleveland Browns. And this is one of Chris's teams here.
It's my boys. It's my boys.
Kevin Stefanski in his first season. They went 6-10 last year under Freddie Kitchens. That was not great. Their win total is set right now at 8.5. To go over is -125. To go under is -105. To win the division, they are plus 450. Look, let's dive through some of these stats. Number 14 in offensive yards per play, that 5.6. Number 20 in defensive yards per play, 5.7. Turnover margin was number 26 at -0.5, so they gave up half a turnover every single game. If you look at what this team's offense is built like, and you look back at what Kevin Stefanski did with the Vikings, you got two, talented tight ends, and the Vikings ran 43%, two tight end personnel on the field. So that's quite a bit.
I do think the reason they've not traded Njoku is because they are trying to convince him you're going to be on the field.
Yeah, you're going to play. Yeah.
We did not bring Hooper in to take your place.
And on top of that, Nick Chubb can be, he was second in the NFL in rushing last year.
Yes, sir.
And he can be to this offense what Dalvin Cook was to the Vikings last year.
I think he's better than Cook.
Now the question that we have here, obviously, the offensive line I think is going to be improved from last season. They bring in Jedrick Wills.
They went and got some big uglies as well.
And then they brought in Jack Conklin. So that's a pretty big signing for them. The question is, can Baker improve? Now, the offensive line is a big part of that. But I think with Baker Mayfield, if you can get him to improve just a little bit, get him to quit throwing the ball to the wrong colored shirt, then you got a chance to be really good. The defense, I mean, they got talent on defense, but we know
this team is loaded.
It's Myles Garrett. Like that's the dude. That is the guy. And so,
yes, sir.
We shall see what happens here. Now, I kind of bought into the hype last year. I had them 9-7, but I was still kind of iffy. I'm still a little bit iffy right now. Joseph Gomez jumps in and said, will Baker hand the ball off enough is my only question, or will Odell force him to overpass the ball?
Odell's not forcing him to do anything.
Yeah.
Odell has been a model citizen since in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think
Y'all
he's
need
been
to
fine.
Get off my guy.
I've got him 8-8.
Get off my guy right now.
I've got him at 8-8 this year.
Won't take this.
And I could see them. Monster X Gaming said I chose Fournette in fantasy yesterday, and yeah, that stings. I've got them 8-8. I'm iffy because I think that they can be really, really good, but I've seen this over and over from this Browns team, and I'm scared of getting bit again. So I'm rolling 8-8 right now. I think they can be improved, but this is a 2-game improvement, and the schedule sets up okay. It's not awful. There's still some pretty tough games on there, but
they're going to be so much more improved than just 2 games. It's not even funny.
Okay.
The schedule last year was the single hardest schedule in the NFL. Wasn't even close. This team, this is the post-hype team that you need to get on. We do this all the time. We hype up a team. We hype them up way before they justifiably should be hyped up, and we get let down. Listen, they dropped a 10,000-pound weight when they shot Freddie Kitchens in the head and drug his dead ass outside, okay? That guy had no business. And listen, shame on the organization for giving him the job, okay? I questioned it when it happened. I said, he's my guy. I'm going to support him. We were 2 games into this thing. I'm sitting in Cleveland for game 4. What'd I tell you? This guy's done. This guy's got no chance. He's the worst quarterback. He's the worst coach I've ever seen in my life. In my life of all the years coaching, we've never had a coach be this bad. I called it in game 4. I saw it by game 2. I said, all my Cleveland friends, you got to give him time. We don't have time. This team is loaded. This is the NFL. You don't get 4 or 5 years to rebuild because by the time that happens, all the guys on your team aren't even there anymore.
Well, I mean, you see what Jacksonville looks like right now. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
They were minutes away from playing in the Super Bowl, and now that team is dust. All right.
Yeah. Let me tell you what Kyle said here, by the way. He said a few injuries to the secondary in camp this week. The losses of Randall and Burnett are those concerning, and the secondary was great, but they couldn't stop the run last year. He said they do have the 4th easiest schedule on paper this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Myles Garrett will be the defensive MVP. That guy is a monster.
Have you bet on this guy for defensive MVP every single?
No, just last year and this year. Okay.
It felt like it's been the last 3 years.
Just 2 years. And do it his rookie year. I bet on defensive rookie year. Just 2 years, okay? And he's a monster. You got a better bet for me?
No, absolutely not. Bet?
You're going to lay all that juice and pay the high price for Aaron Donald? Be my guest. Knock yourself out.
I might take Khalil Mack.
No, sir.
I might. Hey, they bring in Robert Quinn. That kind of opens things up. Got him some space. We'll talk about the Bears in a little bit.
We're done. Listen. This team's going 10-6. Last year, I had them going like 14-2. Like I bought into the hype and I bought in big. I love my team. I love this team. And finally, they're not a doormat. And I got a little overzealous. I got a little outside of my skis. It's a dude that doesn't get hit on by a lot of girls. And one girl gave him attention, and I was just like, all in. I'm in. I fell in love quick. And then immediately I was like, this is a toxic relationship. I need to get out.
I need to get out of this.
The door. But I got out. I didn't hate on the team, but I publicly called it like I saw it. I said, this has got to change. This organization has to change. Now, I will tell you this. This is the reason they won't be a dumpster fire, okay? Because Stefanski knows, and this front office knows, we got to win. We got to win now. We can't dick around, all right? They're not going to fuck around with Baker, okay? If Baker is still the Baker from last year and not the Baker from his rookie year, let me tell you what's going to happen. They brought in Case Keenum, who is Stefanski's boy. Stefanski took Case Keenum to an NFC championship game, all right? I'm telling you, I think he will hook Baker, and I think he'll hook him fast if it's not going, and he will trust this team with a professional grown-up at quarterback, all right?
Yes.
Now, I'd love for Baker to be an adult this year. Last year, he was a child, okay? I'd love for him to be an adult. If he becomes an adult and he works at his craft, he's going to be really good. He's got a lot more talent than Case ever had. The problem is we don't need all-world quarterback right now, okay? We need somebody to lead this team. You got playmakers. Get them the damn ball. Learn to read a defense and stop being an idiot. Get your head out of your ass. You don't have Freddie Soup Kitchens over on the sidelines keeping you held down and calling just crazy-ass plays that don't make sense and not releasing the reins and just having too much pride. We're just taking this ship all the way down, okay? You don't have that anymore. You got an adult in the room in Stefanski. You got an adult in the room in the quarterback room with you with Case. Just be the playmaker you can be, and they're going to be just fine. This defense is going to be so much better because Baker, I trust them to not turn the ball over more. I do think Chubb has a chance to be the rushing leader this year.
Oh, yes. I mean, he had a chance to do it last year. I mean, if it
he
wasn't for
had a chance
Derrick
to do it
Henry,
last year, and that was with a team that couldn't throw the football. I mean,
with
they
not
were stacking the box on him.
Well, and with a not very good offensive line. I mean,
with terrible offensive line, not just not good. They were probably in late 20s, maybe 30th worst.
Yeah, they were not good. They were not good. Let's dive into the comments real quick. Kyle said Mike McCarthy slightly worse, and then Joseph Gomez said McCarthy has a ring though.
No chance McCarthy's worse than Freddie Kitchens. There's nobody in the world. We've had the worst quarterback to ever start 16 games in the history of the league, and that is Kaiser Sose, Deshaun Kaiser, all right? And then we had the worst quarterback the head coach to ever be able to coach 16 games, one full calendar season, the worst in history, and you're talking like 3 years apart, something like that?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It's pretty bad. DFS Bachelor said, Garrett is my pick for hardcore champion. Will Garrett channel his inner Mick Foley? Mark jumped in on your comment. He said, girls, girls, girls. Joseph Gomez said, if you see a sock puppet, run DFS. And then Kyle, of course, jumps in. Chris on fire. I love it. And Mark said, Chris, you got to watch them girls. So
I don't even know what they're talking. What are you talking about? What is the girls thing?
Because you brought up a girl giving you attention for the first time.
Oh, yeah. That happens. Well, yeah, listen, I don't know. You guys must not have been weird, goofy dudes going through high school and college. I was. And guess what? Amazingly, none of the girls wanted anything to do with me.
There you go.
It was shock.
Well, but now, I mean, you've been married, what, 10 years? I mean,
11
years.
12.
So, hey.
God, I should know that.
I might venture to say that you are happier than the majority of them. Hey, that's all you need. Just remember the date.
Listen, I got a good job. I'm a catch now. Listen, everybody looks like shit when you get older. I got a good job. I'm stable. Yeah. Let's
move into the Pittsburgh Steelers here. And good gracious, we spent 10 minutes on the Browns. That's what I'm talking about.
This is a team that I got. Everybody is hyping this team because Ben's back. I don't.
I'm not
you
hyping
give
them.
Numbers from last year, Gary. They're all mythological. They're all fictional. They're all fantasy. None of them matter.
The whole thing was crazy. Well, I mean, let's dive into some of those stats real quick. They went 8-8 last year. Went 6-2 down the stretch. Obviously you start out 2-6. That's kind of a death knell. But they had a shot there at the end, and that is with having the number 30 yards per play offense in the NFL last year.
I have no idea how they were 30. I don't know how they were not
dead last. Who knows?
Well,
probably because of the first two games that Big Ben actually played, I guess. I mean,
they were terrible in those games. They didn't score a point against the Patriots.
No, you're right. I don't know, man. Joseph said she ain't the only one with one of them things.
He
said, not my line. That's
the line.
That's somebody that has been watching us for a little while. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, listen, that's the best advice I was ever given as a young man.
Yep. You're right. All right, so Tomlin entering his 14th season. Again, they went number 30 in offensive yards per play last year, 4.7 yards per play. I mean, that is just atrocious. Defensive yards per play, they were number 3 in the NFL last year. And that is how you get to 8-8 if you ain't got an offense.
That's the only way you do it.
Also, the exact same is 4.7 yards per play on defense, 4.7 yards per play on offense. Turnover margin. They also miraculously, because we saw how many interceptions, we saw the turnovers from Duck Hodges and whoever else, right? Mason Rudolph. Turnover margin number 6 in the NFL last year. They gained half a turnover every week. Now, that was partly because of Minkah Fitzpatrick coming in because of all the sacks that they got, all the turnovers that they forced on defense. Look, after last year, they got to have Roethlisberger healthy. That quarterback room is a disaster behind him. You got Mason Rudolph, you got Duck Hodges, and you got Paxton Lynch back there somewhere, just hiding in a janitor closet somewhere. You got plenty of weapons, and hopefully you're going to have James Conner healthy this season. Juju Smith-Schuster, if you got somebody that can get him the ball, then he's going to be effective. But without Roethlisberger, he was nothing last year. His stats were atrocious. On defense, sacks in abundance. Look, you got T.J. Watt, you got Dupree, you got Hayward, and Minkah Fitzpatrick coming in from the Dolphins was an absolute perfect fit at that safety spot in Tomlin's defense. I mean, just perfect fit. I don't think that they're going to lose a whole lot on defense. They've got 10 starters coming back. Pretty damn good. And they got 10 starters coming back on offense. That includes Ben Roethlisberger coming back. So, I've got them improving this year. I've got them going 10-6. They are not going to be quite up to what the Ravens are. And, we'll see. I could see the Browns, taking over that second spot in this division. But I like the Steelers. That's my team. That's my thing. I'm a little biased, but I think 10-6 is reasonable.
So I got that flipped and reversed. I've got them 6-10. I am worried about people think Ben is the savior. Listen, the last end of the year before that with Ben and the start of last year with Ben has lost a lot on his fastball. Okay. Ben cannot make a lot of throws. Ben is a problem. Ben turns the ball over a lot. Ben holds the ball a long time, and Ben is going to get hurt again because he's just going to keep getting hit. And the defenses they're playing are just getting better and better and better. The reason I think they regress is because I think their division is better. They got to beat up on the Bengals that were a doormat, and they got to beat up on the Browns that were a doormat, and they got to usually split with the Ravens. I don't know that many people split with the Ravens anymore, okay? Somebody can hope they can get one of those W's, but it'll be tough. And I think the Browns and the Bengals are done being doormats. Not saying that they're going to sweep the Bengals. Steelers are still going to win games, but their schedule is not tough, not easy either. Agreed. And I don't worry about the defense. I think the defense is good, but at some point in time, I do think that defense is going to get fatigued. You can't be on the field as long as they've been on the field. Problem with Juju. I was all in on Juju last year before the season started. All in on him. Here's the issue. It's easy to blame the fact that they had a bad quarterback. How many great receivers have played with shitty quarterbacks? Because I remember Deshaun Hopkins and Hopkins at the Texans before Watson got there. Oh yeah. And it was a train wreck for a long time, and he was still one of, if not the best receiver in the game. Okay. We have seen Larry Fitzgerald was elite after Carson Palmer left, and it was just nightmare after nightmare after nightmare of dudes that nobody remembers. Okay. You can be a great receiver with a shit quarterback. I've seen it happen a lot, actually. The problem is the fact that Juju just couldn't find a way to get open. They couldn't get him the ball. Some of that's on the quarterbacks. Yes, he's going to regress some. He shouldn't have fell into nothing. All right. Yeah. He regressed to worthless. Those are red flags that actually scare me. I think Connor's the most important player in this offense, not Ben and not Juju. Yep. And we're asking a guy that has had injury problems in the past to stay healthy in a game in which the whole thing rides on him.
Joseph Gomez, by the way, jumped in and said, Connor in a contract year, I would expect a good year.
I would hope so, but the problem is can he stay on the field? Because I'm going to tell you this, you don't think all those defenses know stop Connor, you win the game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a big part. I'll say this.
Because they got film on Big Ben, and we're not talking about 4 years ago Big Ben. We're talking about last year and the year before Big Ben. Before he got hurt, he was not good. The year before that, he wasn't great.
The tight end that they brought in, Eric Ebron, I think he's going to be a pretty good signing for him. Mark said Ben got Claypool. Claypool should help. And I didn't go through this. Their win total, by the way, 9.5. To go over 9 is plus 110. To go under is minus 140. So they expect 9-7 as opposed to 10-6. And to win the division, BetOnline has got them at plus 350. DFS Bachelor jumps in. He said Steelers plus 340 to win the division is the best value on the board in terms of futures. And he said the crap that
I'll take that bet. I'll take any number you want. I'll send you my Venmo when we're done.
He said the crap my dog took this morning is better than Duck Hodges and Randolph.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take all Steeler overactions you want to give me, because I think Vegas is telling you they want people to take that over. They want please bet 10 games.
I mean, maybe so. He also
because
jumps
giving
in
you positive odds for taking the over, and they're giving you big negative odds for taking the under.
Yeah. Deontay Johnson was very solid. Connor Snell Jr. and the kid from Maryland make this running game a lot better. DFS said, I love it. All of them. All right, let's dive into the NFC North now. Let me write down my times here so I can chop this thing up here in just a little bit. NFC North, we're going to fire things off with the Chicago Bears. Went 8-8 last year. Matt Nagy in his third season. And win total is set at 8.5. To go over 8.5 is plus 160. I think they're telling you something with that as well. To go under is minus 200. I mean, there's a chasm of difference between those two. To win the division, they are plus 500. And I'll give you a little wink there. That is the worst odds at BetOnline. They've got the worst odds to win the division. So
that doesn't surprise me.
Offensive yards per play last year. This is one of the teams that was even worse than the Steelers. Number 31 in yards per play, and it was rounded to 4.7, but it was a little below that. Defensive yards per play, however, they were number 6, and they only gave up 5.1 yards per play. Turnover margin, number 17, they were dead equal. Right across the board, no gain, no negative, no nothing. And the camp rumors that Trubisky has actually looked pretty good. I don't know if that is the GM, Ryan Pace, who we like to crap on quite a bit.
Trying to save his job.
But I will tell you this. They do have some weapons. They bring in Jimmy Graham. They bring in they've got guys. Hearns and Robinson.
Allen Robinson's good. They've Anthony
Miller.
Good.
Yep. And Montgomery is supposed to be healthy. We'll see. Obviously, I think he got carted off or something like that last week, but we'll see what happens with that. They got weapons. They got guys. They shouldn't be as bad as they are on offense, especially with a guy that learned under Andy Reid, right? This looks like a situation that Nick Foles was absolutely built for. And you bring in a guy that you owe $50 million to, I think he's going to win the job. Like I think Trubisky is on the way out, and if you're the GM, it doesn't matter. Just if you start winning games, you're likely not going to get fired. Like, period. That's the way it goes. So, for the defense, I think, obviously, we still love Khalil Mack, but he had the lowest sack rate that he has had since his rookie season last year. He only got 8.5.
Worst season he's ever had.
And that is because there was nowhere for him to have space, right? No. They had injuries on that line. He couldn't get around. He was dealing with double teams basically all season. They bring in Robert Quinn. I think that's going to open things up a little bit for him. I think you will see an improvement on that 8.5 sack rate. I think the defense will be a little bit better. I think Nick Foles will actually be improved in that offense. However, I don't think it's going to show in their record. Like, I think the other teams in this division are just as strong and whatnot as they are. I've got them 7-9. I don't like them enough to give them a winning record. I don't think that. I think they're going to be okay. I don't think they're going to be the dregs.
No.
I think the defense is still going to be good.
I don't think anybody in this division is going to be the dregs.
Yeah. So I
think it's going to be a super competitive division.
Exactly, which is why I've got them at 7-9. And so I don't like them to make the playoffs, but I do like them to be able to ruin some team seasons.
Yeah. So I've got them 9-7. I think they're going to be a little improved because Foles just has to be better than Trubisky. If Mitchell is the starting quarterback, I don't have a lot of thought because I don't even know what to do with that. Okay. I don't know how you evaluate anybody if you've got 2 years of film on this guy and you think one weird ass training camp because of COVID is going to convince you that Mitchell is still the guy. Okay. I don't care how bad Foles is. It doesn't matter. He's not as bad as Mitchell Trubisky.
Okay? Agreed.
That guy can't play. All right. So, I think they're going to be better. Roquan Smith is coming into his own. He's going to be his third year leading that defense, and I think that's going to help open things up. He's improved. Got to stay healthy, and I think him and Mac are going to be just fine. I think that defense is going to be markedly better than they were last year. Okay, but a lot of that is I'm trusting Foles to be the quarterback, them to not go 3 and out over and over and over again, and the defense to not be on the field so much. So the difference of this team as opposed to the Steelers is they don't have the opportunity to play less defense. They have to play a lot of defense because they don't have a strong running game, even as good as Montgomery was. That they just didn't – the way they play offense, they don't run the football enough to control the clock, move the chains, and even if they don't score, to not just to eat clock and let your defense get a rest. That's just not how they've been playing, and they got to figure that out if they can't move the ball. I think Foles can move the ball for them. I think they got enough weapons. I think they're going to be good, not great. I think the most important thing here is somebody has to fire Ryan Pace. I don't know who that is, but somebody. I'll do it if they want somebody to do it. You don't have to pay my room and board. You have to fly. I'll get up to Chicago. I love the city. Listen, buy me a meal. I'll do it.
There you go. What you got them going this year?
9-7. 9-7. I got them over that.
All right. That sounds fair. That sounds fair. Let me jump into these comments really quick because this is a hoot over here. We'll say that. Matt Miller said Vikings and Ravens are winning these two divisions. Mark said Purple People Eaters. DFS Bachelor said, I'll take the Steelers over 9. Loser pays for the first lap dance in Vegas, Chris.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't go to strip clubs.
And then DFS said, this will be my funnest bet of the year, by the way. Matt Miller said, DFS, I think Chris would prefer Magic City and its magical wings. I'm
not a wing guy. Have we talked about that on the show?
I think we talked about it on the show before.
I know we've definitely talked about it in our group texts.
Yeah. No, you're more barbecue. You'd prefer.
Well, just give me a leg. If I'm going to eat chicken, give me a leg. I want to get some meat.
DFS said, I'm flexible as long as I have a shot to meet my next ex-wife. So Mark said,
we're all day to day.
Let's see. Mariota backing up 4. Joseph Gomez said, how many weeks for Foles to be named the starter? That'll determine their record. And Matt Miller said, Ryan Pace is like that hoarding grandma, but with tight ends. Yeah, that's you got that right.
Hit him in the face. I'm not a violent person. I just want to hit him with a chair.
And you're not even a Bears fan.
My ass. I just want to hurt him.
I mean, you're not.
I don't
want to
hurt him bad.
It's insane.
Want to hurt him. I like this team, and I think what he's doing to this franchise is criminal.
Yes. Let's move into the next one.
Go ahead.
The Detroit Lions went 3-12-1 last year, and they fell apart after they lost Matt Stafford. It was just brutal. Matt Patricia going into his 3rd season. This is kind of a critical year for him. 6.5 is the win total. To go over is -160. To go under is +130. And I think basically that is going to hinge on whether or not Matt Stafford stays healthy this season. All accounts say that he should stay healthy. You know, he got the back problem fixed last year, sat out for a long time. He healed up. I think he's going to be okay. To win the division, they are +450. They got better odds to win the division at 2 games less in their win total than the Bears do. So
I don't understand that kind of math. I don't make odds. I just pick them. That doesn't make any sense to me. We think they're going to be 2 games worse. Yeah, they got a better shot at winning the division, though.
I mean, they might. If Matt Stafford stays healthy all season, like that 6.5 is just...
you got to take that into effect of the win-loss record, too, then, right?
I would think so. Let's dive into some of the numbers here. Offensive yards per play, they were number 18 in the league last year at 5.4. It's kind of impressive. Mark said, when are you guys coming to Vegas? Hey, man, as soon as they start lifting like travel ban crap and whatever else, like I think we can get there right now.
It's fun to actually go do something.
Yeah, when it's actually fun to do it.
I can't go and be restricted. I don't get enough time off, and it costs too much. I want to go and let loose.
Like, give me a break. They're not even letting people into the Raiders games right now. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, I'm not going until I can go into that stadium. That's one thing. But also, I don't go to Vegas in the summertime either. October is the earliest I would go, and I usually April, the latest I'll go.
That makes sense. I mean,
it's too damn hot.
120 degrees on that asphalt out there. It's ridiculous.
I am fat.
Defensive yards per play, number 25 in the league last year, 5.9 yards per play. Turnover margin, number 24. That was not good, right? Driscoll and that bunch didn't do well. It gave up 0.3 turnovers per game last year. So, again, the question is, can Stafford stay healthy? I mean, they looked good with him early last year. They bring in, I should have written the guys, DeAndre Swift. They bring in Swift. Kerryon Johnson had issues with staying healthy, of course, so you bring in a guy that you hope can stay healthy. Swift, pretty good at catching the football out of the backfield. That's, a step in the right direction. They got, Galladay, they got, some weapons on that offense. Their question really is defense. I mean, they need all the help that they can get on defense. They brought in free agent linebacker Jamie Collins from New England, and they brought in Desmond Trufant. They need Jeff Okudah to be good. I mean, they bring him in, and I mean they got to have those guys step up. I mean, they went out, they got some free agents, they got some draft picks and whatnot, but it hinges on whether or not this defense is going to be okay. And I ain't sold yet. I want them to be good. I like Matt Patricia and I like Matt Stafford, and I want them to be good. But I've got them going under that 6.5. Man, I got them at 6-10. There's a lot of hype on this team that this might be the year that they can win the division. They can go from last to first and all that, because somebody always does. I mean, I'm just going to have to see it before I will go putting my money on that. I'm going to go under the 6.5. I've got 6-10 on this.
I got them 8-8. I think they're going to be improved. I don't know that they're going to be great. I think a lot of people are going to lose a lot of first coach fired bets. I do think that this guy is on the hottest of hot seats out of everybody, but I don't think it's going to be him, because I think they're going to win too many games. I think this team is good, and I think if Stafford stays healthy, they're going to go 8-8. I think that's their floor. I think that's where they're going to end up being. They've just brought in too many new weapons. I'm not a big Swift fan. I wish that there's a 100 other running backs I would have gotten over him.
Oh, agreed.
But they went the route they wanted to go. Let's see if it works. I am a huge Kenny Galladay fan. I think we are going to see TJ Hawkinson, the big tight end, kind of take strides into coming into his own. I picked Stafford as my comeback player of the year. Okay. I think this guy is going to win that award. I think he's going to stay healthy. I think he's going to put up big numbers, and I think they're going to be a lot better. That defense is going to be better because they're going to play less defense, and that's the most important factor for being a good defense.
Yeah. Now, you're dead on about that. Mark said it was 100 in Vegas today. He said he lives like 5 minutes from the new Raiders place, and that it is really cool when it's lit up at night. DFS said first coach fired Adam Gase.
We can have that conversation whenever you'd like. I actually don't think it's Gase, because I think the new GM and Gase are BFF, and so I got a different one.
DFS said totally off topic, but tell me that Sam Darnold doesn't look like a Lego policeman. I can believe that. I can 100% believe that. He said, I'm going to miss betting against David Blau. Yeah, no, that's the truth.
Well, yeah, that was just free money.
And he brought up that Detroit lost Slay to Philly, but it's going to be tough on defense. Yeah, they lost Slay because they didn't want to pay him, and that's why they brought in Okudah and Trufant and all that. So
that's right.
I think it's going to be tough. Like we thought that Patricia was going to bring kind of that New England style to Detroit.
Here's the problem. No, he did. He did.
This
is the issue with these guys. They all come into a new job and they want to try to be Bill instead of be themselves.
Yes.
I think Brian Flores is doing good, seemingly better than anybody else who's ever left Bill's program before after 1 year of a team trying to tank. And he was like, nope, I'm winning games, because he's trying to be himself and not Bill. You can't be Bill. You're not him. That guy is weird, quirky, savant-like. You can't be that. And if you try faking that, these NFL dudes see right. They're grown-ups. They're adults. Yeah. They tell when they're being bullshit, man. You just can't do that.
No, you're dead on. You are dead on. All right, let's move into the Green Bay Packers. Matt LaFleur entering in his second season. They went 13-3 last year. Their win total for this season sits at 9, according to BetOnline. To go over is plus 130. To go under is minus 160. And to win the division, they are plus 170. So they're sitting right there, second best odds. Offensive yards per play.
What does that tell you, Gary? What does that tell you, Gary?
This is time to drop back to the pack. Like,
it seems like I wrote these odds, doesn't it?
It kind of does. Hey, DFS said, fun fact, in ESPN Fantasy Leagues, Kaepernick is being drafted ahead of Sam Darnold. He said, okay, done.
Okay, all right. That makes I would take Kaepernick ahead of Sam Darnold.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
I don't think Sam Darnold's going to play football much longer.
I think somebody will give him a shot, but he ain't doing well. Joseph said, learn from Kylo Ren. You can't be Darth Vader. You just can't. Mark said, how do you guys think this virus stuff will affect the draft next year?
I got no idea what the draft's going to look like next year.
We're a long ways away.
I'll be in Cleveland for it.
But we think it's so long as they have fans.
I'm going to be in Cleveland.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
I'm going to be in Cleveland. If the draft is in Cleveland, I'll be in Cleveland.
DFS said, cram it in your cram hole, LaFleur. Dodgeball, man. Absolutely love it. So I told you about showing my daughter that movie for the first time, right?
No, we didn't talk about that.
Oh, absolutely loved it. This has been a couple months ago. But, yeah, she had never seen
She's
it, never heard of it.
For it. That's good.
Yeah, she's just turned 15 a couple weeks ago. It's perfect age. Perfect age. All right. Number 16 in offensive yards per play last year. That was not good. And this will surprise you, I think. Number 22 in defensive yards per play. They gave up 5.7 yards per play on defense.
Yeah, the defense was supposed to be amazing. They just didn't give them a lot of points.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Turnover margin, they were number 7, so that obviously helped them out. They gained half of a turnover every game. They brought in free agent wide receiver Devin Funchess, and then he opted out. And that was the only weapon that they brought in, the only wide receiver that they brought in. So, is what it is. They did not address wide receivers really at all, and that's, drafting Jordan Love in the first round, I guess is okay if that's who you are sold on being the future of the franchise. But DFS said worst 13-3 team since Steve Bono's Chiefs. Yeah, I think so.
I don't get into the analytics the way you do, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of other smart guys that dive into the analytics. I know this. I listened to a bunch of guys from Pro Football Focus not too long ago, and they were talking about this number. This team went 13-3. Their over-under is 9, and they are begging people to go over. They do not want anybody betting under because they are certain it's going to go under. And they said all the reasons from last year. This is the same team from last year as this year, okay? They didn't lose a lot of people. They didn't bring anybody.
Well, I mean, they didn't replace Brian, Balaga on defense. The schedule gets obviously harder. They brought in A.J. Dillon as a running back. They lost some dudes on, not a bunch on defense, but for the most part, yes, same team. Same team. You're right.
So, how did they win 13 games last year?
Schedule.
And this year they think they're going to win 8, whatever,
or
less. And the only answer they could come up with was every statistical category was just dumbass luck. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was living with a horseshoe firmly supplanted inside his rectum the entire year.
Yes.
And that's it. That's it. If you look at it on paper, everybody says this team is not great. They're okay. They maybe are average. That is it. There's no chance in hell they're going 13 again. That tells me I don't think they believe they can win. What are the odds on them to win the division?
Plus 170, so second best odds. Yeah.
So they're not paying you very well to win the division. I don't think I'm following Vegas here. I don't think this team is good. I watched them play last year. And we said this week in and week out. I have no idea how this team is good. Like, I watched them.
Yeah.
I saw they won the game. I don't think they're good. And I thought I was crazy. I thought there was something wrong with me. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I don't hate Green Bay. I've never hated Green Bay. I used to love them when Favre was there. We went through this a couple of weeks ago if you've been a part of the show. I am very much of the world when there are two rivals, you love one and you hate the other. Okay?
Yeah.
I chose Favre many a year ago, and I have not changed my choice on Brett Favre over Aaron Rodgers. All right? So that hate will be there forever. That's just what I don't know why. I drink Coke and I don't drink Pepsi. And that's I can't explain it, but that's it. I made my choice and we're done. The conversation's over. Here's the issue. I can't see this team being very good. I don't think Brian LaFleur is good as a coach.
Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur, whatever.
Yeah. It's all the same.
I don't know his name because it doesn't matter. Because I don't think he's going to be there much longer. I don't know. I think there's a world in which Roger, hang on. I said this a couple of years ago when Lamar Jackson got drafted, and I'm going to say it again here. I think somewhere in the middle of this season, Aaron Rodgers is going to come up with some injury, and he is going to step back and get healthy, and we are going to see Jordan Love. And then I think we don't see him again for the Packers.
Okay. Gomez jumps in. He said Aaron Rodgers can win you 3 more games by himself. Hope for early snow if you're a Green Bay fan.
Sure he can. I'll take that action as well.
I'm going under. I've got him 8-8. So
okay. I got him 7-9. I thought this would be the one we'd be the farthest apart on.
Now, man, I don't think anybody in this division is great. Like I think this is. I
think the Vikings. Now, my Vikings record isn't 13-3. Ravens great, but I think the Vikings are going to be a very, very good football team.
Well, we'll go ahead and dive into them here momentarily. Mark jumps in. He said UNLV is going to play in the Raiders' place. Might have fans in there before the Raiders. That's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy to think about.
It's kind of a little disappointing. If I was a Raider, I'd almost lock that place off.
I think so.
You spent $2 billion on the stadium. I know you want to get some money going through it, but I want my team to be the first one to run through that.
Yeah, I agree. He said Notre Dame announcement that only 20% fans for the games. Look, that's a way different look than what it was last week when everybody was talking about Notre Dame might not play. So yes. I will take any fans I can get in any of these stadiums. Mark also said, I heard Aaron's nuts were removed by Danica. Damian said Packers going in the basement with the Lions. And DFS said exactly that Viking secondary very young. So here's the thing. Let's go ahead and dive into Minnesota here. Write my time down again. The Minnesota Vikings, 10-6 last year. Pretty good. Mike Zimmer in his 7th season here. They lose Stefanski. Obviously, that's kind of a issue, but I believe Kubiak still going to be around, still doing his thing. Offensive yards per play, they were number 13 last year, 5.7 yards per play. Defense gave up 5.2 yards per play. That was number 10 in the NFL. Turnover margin, even better. Top 3 in the NFL. They were number 3. They gained 0.7 turnovers per game. And look, after Thielen, you got to hope that Jefferson steps up because, aside from Thielen and Dalvin Cook and I guess like Irv Smith and Kyle and everybody else, the tight ends and whatnot, you got to have – you don't have a ton of proven weapons, right? So you need somebody to step up in that spot.
Yeah, but nobody knew who Thielen was before Thielen became Thielen, and nobody knew who Diggs was before Diggs became Diggs, okay?
Agree, but don't forget, Thielen is coming off of an injury, and that's where you've got kind of an issue. So
I'm just saying those guys that you don't know their name today, by week 6 you'll know their name.
Yeah, we should. We hope, right? And hopefully we know them for the right reasons. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, okay.
So their only major free agent money was spent on Michael Pierce, defensive lineman, who came over and then opted out for COVID reasons. Let's see. DFS Bachelor said Bissy Johnson is running as a wide receiver 2 in camp. Vikes go 3 wide, less than any team in the league. Yeah, Jefferson isn't even top 3 right now.
That's right.
So that's kind of a deal. You hope that he can step up. Make some moves in that department, but we'll see. They lost a lot on that defense. Xavier Rhodes, Mackenzie Alexander, Everson Griffin, etc. I mean, there were a bunch of them that they lost, right? And that's kind of a problem. But if I'm going to trust anybody with a defense, it's going to be Mike Zimmer. Like, I trust him with a defense.
And they went out and got guys to replace those guys.
Yeah, no, they absolutely did. Their win total is set at 9. Over is -105. Under is -125. And to win the division, they are plus 160. And look, like I said, I don't think anybody in this – I think – you know how the NFC East has just been kind of for the past however many years? Like nobody ever really gets over 9 wins, 10 wins, whatever. I think that's what this division is right now. I think they're going to eat each other alive. I like the Vikings to win the division. I've got them at 9-7 winning this division. And I still think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I got them 1 game above that, 10-6. Like I said, I think they're going to win it. I think they're going to be pretty good. Listen, I think this defense is going to be pretty good, okay? They're the only defense that I know of that has 2 elite to really good players at all 3 phases of the defense, all right? You talk about cornerbacks and DBs being young, okay? Listen, that's all the league is made up of young DBs, all right? If you're an old DB, you're not any good anymore, okay? These wide receivers are dusting your ass, and guys are coming in every year as rookies or second-year guys and taking over the spots. and they're taking over the jobs. I don't want somebody who's been in the league, unless it's Stephon Gilmore, that is going to be my cornerback. All right. I just don't. If you've been in the league 4 or 5 years, I don't need you. Okay. I need somebody young and fast and able to play. And so that's just where I put this defense. I think Gary Kubiak is going to run the football, this offense is going to go through Dalvin Cook and that offensive line. They're going to let holy cow, the quarterback of this football team.
Oh, Kirk Cousins.
Oh, wow. That was one of those. I went to a different space before. Kirk Cousins is going to be fine. You know why the turnover ratio was good? Because he just doesn't turn the ball over a lot. Okay,
that's a good point.
He's also not making a lot of big plays. Okay?
Well, DFS jumped in on the chat. He said no quarterback comes up smaller in big games than Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
Now, he did have the massive playoff game, right? You got the touchdown pass very end of the game in New Orleans. But other than that, I mean, no, he typically does not come up big.
He usually does. Historically, he has not come up big in those games. But that's okay. I don't think this team is built on the quarterback being all things to all people, everybody. And I think that's a good thing. I think Zimmerman knows finding a quarterback is really, really hard. I just need one that won't lose his games.
Yeah, okay. I'm with you. That is going to wrap up our NFC North preview. Obviously, you can go back, download the podcast, get the AFC North preview as well. We will be going through 2 divisions a day. Tomorrow, we are handling our SBR duties. You can find us at 5:30 p.m. Central Time over at SBR's YouTube page. That is Sportsbook Review, SBR Picks, whatever you want to do. Go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF to find that. We appreciate DFS Bachelor coming in and joining in the chat there. He jumped in a lot of information for us. Damian said Vikings are winning the division. Unfortunately, Bears will be getting into the wild card. Hey, you got a lot of faith in the Bears, man. I'm with you. DFS said the safeties are great in Minnesota. Great point. And he said this feels like 9-7 wins this division. Yeah, 100%, because I think they're going to eat each other alive. Go over to winningcureseverything.com. All of our picks, previews, podcasts, videos, social media platforms, etc. are over there. You can subscribe to the podcast and leave a nice 5-star written review over at Apple Podcast, or you can just get it on whatever podcast app you like. Whichever one you want, we are on there. Go and check it out. Do us a favor, sign up, download, all that good stuff. Stick with us for the entire season. All of our NFL coverage, NBA, Major League Baseball, all the other sports, we will be right here. Our college football coverage will be over at sportsbookreview.com. You can find us at sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. With that, Chris, I think we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Is there anything we need to hit?
No, that's it, brother.
You guys have been fantastic. Thank you, everyone that jumped into the chat and helped drive the show today. We appreciate you guys helping shape the narrative of what we are talking about. The conversations are fantastic. With that said, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And we will see you again tomorrow.